Well, hello.
Oh, hello there.
So today we are going to be talking about how to build a Renaissance Fair capsule wardrobe from scratch. Normally when I do these videos, I sit down and I show you guys examples from the internet. I make mood boards or show examples from my Pinterest board. But instead, I decided it would actually be more fun to kind of take you guys through my Renaissance Fair wardrobe and give you the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. Now, the biggest question I hear people asking is, why would anyone ever need to build a capsule wardrobe for Ren Faire? And off the top of my head, I can think of a few reasons. The first reason I can think of is maybe you live in an area where there's a major Renaissance Fair or a Renaissance Fair that has multiple weekends, and perhaps you bought a season pass or you're trying to go multiple weekends. The second reason why I think it's super practical to have a mix and matchable Renaissance Fair capsule wardrobe is if you're a vendor and you're going every single weekend and you're going to multiple Renaissance fairs and you need to make getting dressed every day easy peasy. Regardless of your reasoning, I thought it'd be good to put together this video and help you maximize your outfit combinations for your future Renaissance Fair adventures. My first tip is not only good for Renaissance fairs, but just building a capsule wardrobe in general, and that is choosing a color palette. Choose from a handful of colors that will easily mix and match together, and also be sure to include some neutrals in that as well, even if you're more of a flashy person. So as you can see here, I'm a very autumnal person, so I have a lot of oranges, coppers, reds, and then mixed in I also have cream, black. I also have a few outliers, like I have some green, which I still feel like go with these colors. I also have navy blue, and a lot of you guys know that I've also been working on a more witchy, celestial, wizardy capsule wardrobe as well. So I've been incorporating a lot of purples and actually blue, which didn't used to be a color that I used to go for, but here we are. Obviously, this is completely up to your preference and what colors you like to combine with each other. There are no rules. If you like two colors together and other people think they clash, that's their own damn problem. Do what you want, bestie. So now we're gonna talk about basic pieces, and I'm gonna split this video up into two sections. First, we're gonna be talking about the more feminine side of things, which is how I dress. So we're gonna be talking dresses, skirts, frilly tops, things like that. However, I will go into the masculine side as well because I dress my husband for the Renaissance Fair, so I know how that is also super helpful, and not all of my audience is female. And a lot of the principles that we're going to be talking about on the feminine side will be applicable to the masculine side as well. So if you're about to skip ahead and you're masculine, don't do that, at least just yet. So the first thing that I would recommend for your base outfit, try to focus on solid colors. We'll get to pattern mixing and introducing prints in the future, but first focus on finding some good quality and comfortable basics that are a solid color that you can then add to and add accessories to make it a little bit more whimsical. For example, the very first pieces that I bought when I first started going to the Renaissance Fair were the infamous Amazon dress. So I actually have this dress in numerous colors, and if you're on TikTok or Instagram, you've probably seen this dress. This also counts as cottagecore, so I have it in black. I'm gonna stick that right there. I, of course, have it in orange because
I am an autumn.
and I have it in cream. I also have a like lilac purple, but it's currently in storage with all of my spring stuff. But these are just some really nice basics. They're pretty comfortable, they're pretty breathable, and they have a decent amount of fabric in the skirt, so you do feel a little swooshy when you're like walking around. But the great thing is, this is just the base. You can add on top of this. For example, the dress that I'm wearing underneath this is actually quite similar, although this one is from Lively Ghosts. I'm wearing this medieval dress that I cut into a jacket and then a Lively Ghosts, not sponsored, corset, which the sleeves are falling down and I hate that. And then I added a chain belt. So that kind of gives you guys an idea of what you can do. You can also add skirts on top and underneath, hike up, but we'll get into the combinations in a little bit. But I just want to give you guys an idea of why these are good investment pieces. Sometimes you can thrift these, but not always. But there There are tons and tons of brands that make similar dresses to this, not just Amazon. The actual brand of this, I believe, is our Vivi Moss. I've seen dresses like this at Old Navy. I keep mentioning Old Navy in videos lately, and I don't know why I keep doing that, like as bad examples. Old Navy is a great place for cottagecore basics that can be turned Ren Faire, okay? I'm not knocking it. I don't know. I used to work for an Old Navy, so that's why it keeps popping in my brain, okay? That employee discount though. In a similar vein, if you're not going for dresses, if you want to do more skirt top, I also recommend finding similar style tops. So this top, it's originally from Gap. I did thrift it, but it's this smocked square neck, has the poofy sleeves. You can't go wrong with these, especially when they're cotton. They breathe, they're a breeze. Unintentional coordination of words right there. Similarly, I also have this one, which is very similar to the Amazon dress. I found this at Ross. Always check your local Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, TK Maxx, wherever you live, those types of stores, okay? Burlington Coat Factory, places like that. The cottagecore tops have been plentiful at those places over the years. We also have a similar little number. You kind of get the idea. We have solid color here so that if you get it, no, not this one, but we'll get to it, the corset side, but it's so you can add on top of it. I also have this one from Scarlet Darkness. It is an Amazon brand. It's not the best quality, although sometimes they have cotton. I would prioritize cotton over any other fabric. Second is linen. I'll show you guys some linen pieces in a bit. This one's polyester. I got it in a pinch for an outfit. I had a specific vision and this was the quickest and cheapest thing to get. You know, we all have our moments. This one I'm not gonna show because I forgot to steam it. Oh, man down. This one's kind of like in a similar vein, and it's also lots of hair on it. I'm relatable, okay? So this is actually an off the shoulder top. It has very poofy sleeves. This was also thrifted. You're gonna sense a theme with this. Most of my Ren Faire garb is thrifted. You know, so I have these basics to kind of like help me build the outfits, have a variety of different bases. You don't have to have that many tops. I just have a lot of them, but just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of bases to gravitate towards and to collect. So you could probably get away with like 1 or 2 dresses, maybe 1 or 2 tops, maybe even 1 top, 1 dress. It's completely up to you, but just find something that's going to be versatile for your personal style and the color scheme that you want to go for. If you're not sure what your color scheme is, what your style is, go for black or go for cream. You can't go wrong. Honestly, cream you can't go wrong with. You can make so many different styles of outfits, whether it's fairy core, cottage core, hobbit core. I know someone's gonna get annoyed from all those cores, but trying to come up with examples. Another thing that I recommend people is to look for good quality vintage dresses of like different textures. I've also styled this to be more Ren Faire. Honestly, you put a bodice on it and it looks pretty Ren Faire. If you style it right, it looks pretty Ren Faire. But this is a solid base. However, it also is lace. I rhymed. I did not mean to do that. I don't have a script, so this is all gonna be spontaneous, okay? So we have a solid base, it's lace, so it is a really great starting point for an outfit. Now, the slip that comes with it is a bit high neck, and I like to have more chest exposed, but that's just a personal preference. So I would probably change the slip for a different one so that I have a little bit more chest and then add the corset. Now, the sleeves aren't very Ren Faire. I've considered taking them off and replacing them. I don't know. I just wanted to show a variation so it's not just all Amazon cottagecore dresses. This one is slightly different. Okay, so we're still in dresses and tops, but I wanted to give you guys a couple more examples, or at least one more example. Well, actually, no, we also have the Carmen de Paul Crafts wrap tops. Last of the sweetheart / square neckline. This one is really nice. It's originally from Cider, which is super fast fashiony. I got this a few years ago. It's one of my favorite bases for an outfit, particularly the bottom hem. So sometimes, you can't really tell because it's super wrinkly. Sometimes you can find hanky hem or shark bite hem, depending on what you like to call it. The zigzag hem skirts and dresses, those are extremely useful if you're trying to lean more fantasy. There's a lot of vendors that specifically sell those, which I'll get into in a little bit. I keep saying I'll get into something in a little bit. I'm sorry. Again, I don't have a script. We're just rolling with the punches. You can still sometimes find basics with different details that distinguish it from others. So depending on your style, you can choose from a variety of different basics. So there is this one to kind of give you guys an idea. And one of the things that I like to do specifically with this outfit is I found at the thrift store this kimono, which is very much the same color. And then I like to put a bodice on top of this, kind of like what I did here, which helps it to kind of, I don't know, have a layered effect. I'll insert photos of this outfit. I shot it with Propel the Moon photography at the 2024 Summer Fantasy Retreat, which, by the way, guys, as of recording this video, we still have a couple more slots open for the 2026 Spring Retreat. So if we still have slots open, I'll link that down below, you know, because I'm going to be there. And if you want to get, well, I'm not a photographer, I'm going to be a videographer. So if you want me to video you, sign up. So before we get to skirts, let me show you a couple of different things you can do besides the square neck tops. So I got these beautiful wrap tops from Karma Nepal Crafts. They have this amazing bell sleeve. It wraps around. Now you can put a bodice on top of this, or you can just wear it with the skirt and accessorize accordingly. It's completely up to you, but I got this in purple. I have it in a red, and then I also have a patchwork set. I bought the purple and the patchwork as a set so I could also use the pants. I have a video showing how I styled these pieces for like a Wizardcore look. It's in my shorts, but I'll link that down below if you guys want to see an example of that. But you could also style this with skirts and other things as well. I actually styled the red one accordingly, and it's one of my favorite outfits. I keep saying that about all my outfits. All my outfits are my favorite outfits. I always love what I'm able to put together. It's my creative outlet. But the great thing is these are made of linen, so they breathe. So even though these are long sleeves, if you're at a really hot Ren Faire, these are great for that. They're nice and breathable. So again, this is a solid color, but if this is too flashy of a color for you and you would prefer a neutral, they do have these in some neutrals. I don't know if they have cream, but I at least know they have black. Now we're getting into skirt, which is where you can go a little bit more wild. You can start off by collecting some solid colored skirts, kind of in the realm of our conversation about having solid bases to work with. For example, now there's a bunch of leaves on it, but I sewed those on. So just imagine this without it. This is a hanky hem skirt that I got from Unicorn Clothing at the Colorado Renaissance Festival. So this is an example of a solid color basic skirt. I also have this burgundy tiered one. Still has the tags on it because I haven't worn it to the fair yet, but we have this. And then we have this little bit shorter one for like more of a pixie look. My friend thrifted this one for me, but again, it has that hanky hem. This is my preference, but it doesn't have to be yours. But the great thing is, if you really want a more layered effect, those skirts go amazing layered with different skirts. But even if that's not your vibe, layering multiple skirts and hiking it up is a really cool, interesting look to do. So what I would recommend, in addition to the solid skirts, to pick up some skirts with different prints that you like, colorways, and maybe different textures. So this is solid, but this is a lace skirt, so it has a little bit more interest. This is also a high-low skirt, which if you don't like high-low, you don't have to get high-low, but I enjoy it for Ren Faire because it kind of adds a little bit more of an edgy look to it, kind of more piratey. And I've used this skirt for multiple outfits, and that's kind of the key. Get things that you think you'll use with multiple outfits. And then still going the lace route, I have this layered skirt. This is from Hot Topic. Again, not the most sustainable place to get it, but some of us are on a mad budget. And then when it comes to prints, it is completely up to your preference. I'm partial to plaid and tartan. Maybe it's the Scotty in me, but you can go with floral, paisley, whatever the heck you want, honestly. This skirt is technically like a rockabilly skirt, but I love to layer this one, especially with my black dress, and hike up my black dress and kind of let this peep out. And it's also great for autumn. It has that like autumnal plaid feel to it because it's orange. If you want to look autumnal, just wear orange. And then this skirt I recently picked up and I styled in a video. You can see I got it recently, still has the tag on it. But this one is from Disturbia. And I got this to wear casually, but I wanted to bring it out because this is also really great for Ren Faire for layering with different outfits. Especially if you're gonna go on Celtic weekend. Is this my family tartan? No, I actually don't know what my family tartan is because me and that side of the family don't really talk, so. Okay, a quick little recap before we get into accessories and how to add on to your outfit. Focus on good solid basics that you're gonna be able to mix and match with different outfits. So solid colors, things that will go with multiple outfits, whether it's a color that you really like that you're gonna be able to put with a bunch of other things, or a neutral that's gonna be easy to pair with multiple color schemes. Focus on fabrics that will breathe, like cotton, linen, and other natural fibers. I think rayon also breathes, but please please correct me down below if I'm wrong. Good necklines to look for are square, sweetheart. You can also go for a wrap silhouette. That looks nice as well. And all of this goes for the skirts as well. Maybe get yourself a couple solid colored neutral skirts or a color that you're gonna be comfortable mixing and matching with other things. And then on top of that, you can maybe get a couple prints or patterns or other textures to add more interest. Now we're gonna talk about accessories, and then we're gonna get to the boys, okay? When it comes to marrying everything together, nothing is better than a good belt. And belts are always in ample supply at the thrift store. This is my ride or die belt that I got like 13 years ago. This is a vintage Calvin Klein, and it is molded to my body. This is the softest leather. And it's also my go-to belt for Ren Faire. Now, if you're gonna want that layered effect with the skirts, I would recommend getting yourself a skirt hike. It's just one of these leather loop guys. There are different types, not just these, but these are just the ones that I have and can show you an example of. I actually made this one. This is from a recycled belt that I got from the bins. And then I have a studding kit. I studded it down and I bought some O-rings. I have a video showing how I made these. I will link that down below. But most of the time, skirt hikes are pretty cheap. Like this one, I believe I got this off of Etsy. I'll link to some down below if you guys just want to buy one and support a small business. These work really well for pulling your skirt up and pulling up the different layers to expose whatever patterns or textures that you might have layered into your outfit. It also helps if you are a short queen and you need to pull your skirt off of the ground, which I need with this skirt. Other things that you can put on your belt that is super handy are belt bags. I like to be hands-free at the Ren Faire, mostly because I have my big ass camera with me most of the time, and now I have multiple cameras. So having a purse isn't something that I enjoy. So I have quite a few of these. I have more in my closet. I just didn't grab them. I have a green one and a black one as well. These two are from Leafling Bags. I will link to them down below. However, I will also link to some other places with different styles if the leaf isn't your thing, but I like it because I'm usually a nature-based fairy or mage. Same thing for the accessories goes with the base of your outfit. Choose a color that's going to go with multiple outfits and not just go with one thing. That's going to make your life a whole lot easier when you're trying to put together an outfit weeks on end. Okay, so now let's get into bodices or corsets, depending on what you prefer to call it. I have a lot, so I can give you some pointers on where to go. First of all, if you're looking for something more plain that doesn't have any print on it, this one is pretty cheap. This is from Lively Ghosts, and I say they run around $50, which when it comes to corsets, that's pretty affordable. It's not the most snatching corset. I believe this is plastic boning, but we're not going for historical accuracy here, and also we want to be able to breathe. Another great place to find corsets that are a little bit more substantial, they're a little bit more expensive as well, and that is from French Meadows. I don't own anything from French Meadows, but I have modeled them before. They're pretty good quality. They've got some prints and some patterns, but they also have some solid colors as well. Now, the ones that I have the most that I can definitely recommend for Ren Faire for being both durable and comfortable are my bodices from Costurero Real, if I'm saying that right, and Uchronic Time, their steampunk sister. So this is the only one I have from Uchronic Time at present, but it is this leather steampunk corset. This one's a little bit toasty to wear to the Ren Faire, but it also goes with a lot because I have a lot of brown leather. So if you're looking for a leather corset, I can recommend this one. And then I have these ones, starting with the Poppies corset, which I don't know where the front lace is, but I'm not putting it on, so it doesn't matter. And then we have this tapestry one. This is actually my first one that I ever got from them. And these were all sent to me, by the way. I take photos for them. I'm very grateful. And then the last one that I wear all the time is this kind of autumnal mushrooms one. And the great thing about these is, first of all, they're not boned, but they do kind of snatch you. It laces up both in the front and the back, although I think I just did that backwards. And technically, these corsets are not reversible, but the inside is finished, so you could technically wear it inside out if you remove the tags. So I've done it. You get more bang for your buck. Obviously, the most affordable thing you can do is make them yourself, but you have to have the skill and the time to do so. So is it really cheaper? And I know a lot of people will say, hey, fabric is expensive, but if you're crafty and creative enough, you could make a corset out of a tablecloth or a curtain. And also that goes for skirts, tops, and other apparel items as well. I've actually seen people make circle skirts out of round tablecloths. And also you can do the same thing with a square tablecloth, and then you have a hanky hem skirt. As long as it's square, not rectangle. That'll look weird, I think. So to recap this section, good quality belt, which you can usually find at the thrift store. Either buy or make yourself some skirt hikes so you can show off those layers. Perhaps get yourself a cool belt bag. However, you can also make them. I'm gonna link a video from my friend down below. And then when it comes to corsets, find something within your price range that isn't super duper cheap quality. I didn't mention that, but I don't recommend Scarlet Darkness for corsets. But that's where you can play with adding pattern to your outfit, adding a little bit more color if you have a little bit more solid basics, and also maybe invest in some reversible ones, so then you can get the solid on the inside and the print on the outside, and then boop, 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 you have a solid colored corset. More bang for your buck. Actually, before I get into the boys, I know I mentioned that this was the last section before I get into the boys, but I do have to mention shoes, because shoes are very important. This is where I don't lean too much into aesthetics. I am more on the team of go for the most comfortable shoe that you can find. So find something with good sole support, with a good solid heel and like sole, something with tread, because a lot of Ren Fairs are dusty, muddy, or have like inclines and you gotta trek up. So just get something that's gonna be easy for you to walk in, that's not going to kill your feet. Even if the shoes are hella cute, test them out before the fair. Walk around, I don't know, your neighborhood or whatever is convenient for you, and make sure you're not gonna be dying. But I'll show you guys my favorite shoes for Ren Faire, just so you guys have an idea of what to go for. First of all, I've talked about these so many times. These are my Doc Marten Leonas. Are Doc Martens usually murder for your feet when they're not broken in properly? Yes. However, when it comes to all of the Doc Martens I've ever owned, these have been the easiest to break in, and I just got a new pair, a black pair, and my feet still feel amazing. So the great thing about this particular kind of Doc Marten is it has more of a softer leather, so it's not gonna dig into your feet. The other thing is that it has a chunkier sole, a little bit more of a tread, so when you're hiking around the fairgrounds, you have a little bit more solid footing. Now, if chunky isn't your vibe and you want something a little bit more aesthetic, I would recommend looking for a vintage or 90s naturalizer. I originally wore these boots a lot to Ren Fairs. Now, I have very particular feet, so these are not comfortable for me because I have a high arch, and not having a thick sole kind of like bugs my feet a lot. But these are typically pretty comfortable. This is a very soft leather. It kind of has the vibe, even though I know the historically accurate police are gonna be like, those aren't historically accurate. Don't piss me off. But if you can find something kind of like this with pretty good support, these are a pretty good option as well. Again, these are naturalizers, and naturalizers are known for being comfortable because they have cushy insides and good arch support. These are the boots that I actually wore the most this particular season. These are actually by Vince Camuto. No, I did not buy them full price. I bought them at the thrift store. Now, a little bit of a story about these. I got them and didn't realize that the sole was kind of worn out. And the very first Ren Fair that I went to, I think it was the first weekend, or maybe it was the second weekend, I don't know, they broke. But a good tip, if you find good quality leather boots, whether you're investing in them brand new or you're buying them secondhand, it's really good to keep an eye on if there's any shoe cobblers or shoe repair places in your area, because if something ever happens to them, it's actually more cost effective and sustainable to take them to get repaired. That's what I did with these. Did these only cost me $20 and it cost me $50 to get them repaired? Yes, but these are originally $300 boots, and they're also a staple in my wardrobe, so I didn't feel bad about it. Okay, finally, I got you my boys and my masculine friends. I don't have a lot to show you because I didn't want to bring my husband's entire Ren Faire wardrobe in here. Not that he has a lot, I just don't know where it's all at. But I do have a couple pieces to show you, and I'm gonna bring in the principles that I explained in the previous section that you guys can apply as well, but update it with silhouettes and things you can look for. Just like with our feminine friends, you're gonna start off with some solid colored basics. For example, this is a top that my husband wears all the time to the Ren Faire. He also uses it as a base for some of his medieval cosplays, and it feels like cotton. It may not be, forgive me, but unfortunately this is also from Jeffy Bezos, Amazon.com. But hey, the men's and the masculines have it a lot harder when it comes to options, so we're gonna give them a free pass on that. I have tried to thrift Ren Faire garb for my husband, and it's hard, okay? There's some people that can do it. I have yet to find any good pieces for him. But he has has quite a few colors in this particular style of tunic. So I would look for something that's a little bit long sleeve or quarter sleeve, solid color, cottony. It could be a little bit more flowy. It could have a ruffle if you want to go for more Mr. Darcy vibes, which I know isn't medieval. Don't come for me. But also if you're single and you want to attract the ladies, definitely channel your inner Darcy. And then it doesn't have to have this lace up detail, but it's definitely a good detail to have because it makes it look more primitive. And then in a similar vein, we have some basic black pants. Again, you can choose a color that you prefer. They come in all sorts of colors. These are also cotton. And then these particular ones do lace up on the ankle, but my husband wears boots, so you don't really see it. So he kind of just took the threads out. Now, if you're gonna wear like moccasins or ankle boots, you can lace this up. That's completely up to you. But those are a couple pieces he has, but I'm gonna show you guys a few more examples. I'm just gonna use the power of editing to give you guys some ideas. Now I have a full video just for you guys that you can click down below, but I devoted a ton of time to the ladies, so I'm gonna see about giving you guys some ideas. So again, start with basic colors: black, cream, brown, which he has some brown ones, burgundy, red, green, navy blue, cream. Again, don't sleep on the cream tops as your base. Now, those pants are a little bit more of a skinny leg. They're designed for putting on boots. If you are like me and you like to be a little bit more mischievous, so when I wear pants, I like the puffy leg pants because I feel like it feels more mischievous. I don't know why, don't ask me. They do make some pants, and technically they will be found in the women's section. So if that turns you off, then why? But they are technically unisex and they are called harem pants. They're a little bit of that drop crotch. They also have balloon leg pants or like bloomer style pants that look really cool, especially when you tuck them into boots. Now, where can you find said basics? Obviously, Amazon is the place where most people go. However, I do want to turn you guys on to a few shops. First of all, Medieval Collectibles is one of like the main places you can go. You can also get armor there. You can get belt pouches. You pretty much get anything you need for a medieval style outfit at Medieval Collectibles. There's also, I believe it's called Zootsu garments, Zootsu clothing. I'll put it up on the screen somewhere. That place is also more size inclusive. I believe Medieval Collectibles also has some plus size options, but Zootsu, I believe it goes up to 6XL because I know Amazon isn't really size inclusive. So if you're looking for something with a little bit more, that's the place to go. Are those places going to be a little bit more pricey? Yes, but they're also going to be a lot more high quality. So if you're going to be wearing and re-wearing these pieces, I recommend getting something a little bit higher quality and maybe spending a little bit more money, because I guarantee you if you wear something into the ground and you have to rebuy it because it's crap quality, in the end you end up spending more money. And the same thing goes for shoes. I would recommend investing in some good quality leather boots. The same tip I have for the ladies: the leather's going to last you. You can get it repaired if it gets damaged, and your feet will thank you. You can sometimes thrift some high quality leather men's boots or shoes at the thrift store. I've seen it. Are they going to be knee-high boots? Probably not. That's where you can get a little bit creative and make or buy boot covers. Obviously that can look a little cheesy if you get the wrong ones, but it can be done. It can look good. In fact, I believe making boot covers is one of the easiest things you can do if you find the right fabric. Probably like a million videos talking about how to make boot covers, but I'll do it if you ask me. Now, obviously when it comes to accessories, what I talked about in the feminine side does apply to the masculine side as well. Find a good quality leather belt, which you can typically find at the thrift store. You can make different things with different belts. Obviously, you're not going to need a skirt hike, but you can also make tankard strap pretty easily in a similar fashion that I make the skirt hikes. Belt bags, you can choose to buy those, or you can try to make one from a little purse in the purse section at the thrift store. Again, I'm going to link to a video down below made by my friend Tia. Other things that you can add to your outfit to add more pizzazz. Obviously, waistcoats, like vests. Those I would recommend looking for in the women's section. I actually had a vest that was like an 80s suede vest that was a woman's vest, but it looked great on my brother. So that's another thing. Always check the women's section, even if you dress masculine or you are a man, because you'll find some of the best pieces there. And even if it was made for men, a lot of times if it's more fanciful, it'll get put in the women's section. Like one of my favorite tunics was in the women's section, but it was a male tunic. But I would say don't shy away from checking that section if you want to look for more piratey looking blouses or tunics, vests, belts, even like a fur vest, which my friend Tia did for one of her clients. She sometimes puts together thrift bundles for Ren Faire for people. And this is for if you're feminine or masculine, and that is adding a sash. This is literally just a rectangular piece of fabric, not even hemmed, that I tie around my waist for my mage outfit. This obviously works for more piratey outfits, but it also works for other vibes. But if you're trying to add a little bit more to your outfit, if the masculine outfits are feeling a little bit too basic, I would also recommend adding a sash or any like random pieces of fabric. Honestly, just have fun with it. Again, to summarize, focus on solid colored basics, neutrals and colors that you like that you'll be able to mix and match. So for the masculine side, maybe get a few tunics, a few pairs of pants, try to vary the fit. So maybe have more straight leg, maybe have a couple balloon leg, things like that, so you can create different vibes. And then invest in a good solid pair of boots, whether that's knee-high boots, ankle boots, whatever you feel the most comfortable in, and whatever you feel like you look good in. And then on top of that, try to find some quality leather belts, whether you get that at the thrift store or from vendors. Find some vests, whether that's solid color or printed, to add a little bit more interest and pizzazz to your outfit to make it look a little bit more different from the other outfits. You can also invest in a cloak, which that also goes for the feminine side as well. You can make or find yourself like a fur vest or fur pelt, which gives it a little bit more of like a barbarian vibe. You can get random strips of fabric or maybe even scarves from a thrift store and add that to your waist. Again, we're building off of that base and customizing accordingly. So those are just some ideas to customize your outfit. If you need further clarification, please feel free to leave a comment below and I'll help you out, or I can direct you to other resources that can help you build your wardrobe further. I'm also going to be linking to a bunch of stuff down in the description. So if you want to get some recommendations on shops and other creators, check that out down below and maybe that will be helpful as well. But yeah, that is my guide for how to build a Renaissance Fair capsule wardrobe. If this video helped you, be sure to give it a like and also consider subscribing. I make videos mostly on thrifting, but I also do Ren Faire content. I go to Ren Fairs, make outfits, all of that, and I really enjoy it. And I'd love to have you here. A big shout out and a big thank you to my patrons and my channel members. And if you would like to join the ranks of my chaos crew, the links are down below, but it is not necessary to enjoy my content. I just appreciate you watching, liking, and commenting. Thank you guys for watching. I know this was a long one, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your Ren Faire adventures, whatever that may be, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.